An amorphous parasitic alien race abandons its dying planet and travels to Earth, taking the form of small seed pods with pink flowers upon settling. Elizabeth Driscoll, played by Brooke Adams, a laboratory scientist at the San Francisco Health Department, brings one of the flowers home and shows it to her boyfriend, Jeffrey, played by Art Hindle. She awakens the next morning to find him being cold and distant while putting debris of the glass that once held the flower pod into a garbage truck. Elizabeth confides to her colleague and friend Matthew Bennell, played by Donald Sutherland, about the unsettling changes in Jeffrey and that she fears he is an imposter. Elizabeth mentions following him and seeing him secretly meeting with people she doesn't know. Matthew advises Elizabeth to talk to his psychiatrist friend David Kibner, played by Leonard Nimoy, to which she reluctantly agrees. On the way to Kibner, a hysterical man warns Elizabeth and Matthew of danger as a mob pursues him. The couple follows the mob, only to find his dead body surrounded by emotionless onlookers. At Kibner's book promotion event, Matthew finds his friend Jack Belisek, played by Jeff Goldblum, an aspiring writer, while Elizabeth meets Kibner, who reassures a woman who claims that her husband has changed. Kibner brushes off both women's concerns, insisting the behavior is just a case of non-commitment. Elizabeth is convinced to return home to Jeffrey. Jack returns to the mud bath spa he runs with his wife Nancy, played by Veronica Cartwright. The two find a mysterious embryonic adult body resembling Jack and call Matthew to investigate. At the disturbing discovery, Matthew goes to warn Elizabeth, but discovers a semi-formed duplicate of her near the bedroom where she is sleeping. Matthew rescues Elizabeth and alerts the police and Kibner about the events, but when they arrive, Jack and Elizabeth's duplicates have disappeared. Elizabeth suspects the flowers are involved, but is unable to examine one at the health department offices. In the meantime, Matthew tries in vain to alert the authorities. After encountering several doppelgangers, Matthew, Elizabeth, Jack, and Nancy hide out in Matthew's apartment. As the group fall asleep, big flower pods emerge from the garden and start birthing their replacements. They wake up and Matthew destroys his own replacement in time, but they quickly realize duplicates have taken control. The pod people, the fully formed alien replacements, pursue Matthew's group. Jack and Nancy create a distraction, sacrificing themselves while Matthew and Elizabeth take refuge at the health department, where they each take speed to remain awake. Jack and Kibner's duplicates ambush and inject them with sedatives, needing the victims to fall asleep to be fully replaced. Kibner's duplicate explains the aliens' plan to replace humanity with serene, emotionless duplicates, whose only goal is survival. Matthew kills Jack's double and locks Kibner's in a freezer, then escapes with Elizabeth. Matthew and Elizabeth find Nancy, who manages to trick the pod people by hiding her emotions. The three try to blend in among the duplicates. This works until Elizabeth sees a dog-human hybrid, byproduct of a damaged pod, and screams, alerting the pod people, who emits high-pitched screams. In the commotion, Matthew and Elizabeth get separated from Nancy. Board a truck delivering plants to Pier 70, they find pods grown and processed in a warehouse. Noticing a nearby ship, Matthew briefly leaves Elizabeth, whose ankle is sprained, to investigate, only to find it being loaded with pods. Matthew returns to Elizabeth, finding her asleep. He tries to wake her up, but she disintegrates, while her duplicate emerges from the grass. Horrified and enraged, Matthew flees the duplicate, breaks into the dock warehouse, and burns down the building, destroying several plants and killing many pod people. He hides underneath the pier as pursuers search for him, confidently asserting that he will inevitably fall asleep. A flashlight's light shines in his direction. Later, Matthew stands in the health department, acting emotionless among the duplicated employees. While outside, he finds the real Nancy, still posing as a duplicate, and she approaches, expecting him to be the same as her. To her horror, he points at her and emits the duplicate's high-pitched scream. About the film, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978, was directed by Philip Kaufman and produced by Robert H. Solow. The screenplay was written by W.D. Richter, based on Jack Finney's 1955 novel, The Body Snatchers. The movie is a remake of the 1956 film adaptation. The casting of the film includes Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy, Jeff Goldblum, and Veronica Cartwright. The 1978 version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers was filmed primarily on location in San Francisco, which added a modern and urban feel to the story compared to its predecessor. Director Philip Kaufman aimed to create a sense of paranoia and unease throughout, employing unique cinematographic techniques like handheld cameras and unusual framing to reflect the character's growing isolation. Production was managed by producer Robert H. Solow, with careful attention to recreating the horror and suspense of the original film while updating its themes for the 1970s. The film's soundtrack, composed by Denny Zeitlin, marked his only film score. Zeitlin, a renowned jazz musician and psychiatrist, created a hauntingly atmospheric score that perfectly complemented the film's tense and eerie mood. The music, blending orchestral and experimental elements, became a memorable aspect of the movie's tone. Invasion of the Body Snatchers was released on December 22, 1978, during the holiday season, to significant anticipation from audiences and critics. Made with a modest budget of approximately $3.5 million, the film grossed over $24.9 million at the box office, marking it as a financial success. Critically, the film received widespread acclaim for its intelligent storytelling, performances, and atmospheric direction. Reviewers praised Donald Sutherland and Brooke Adams for their performances, and Leonard Nimoy's role as a charismatic but suspicious psychiatrist was particularly highlighted. The movie's themes of societal distrust and loss of individuality resonated with audiences, earning it a place as one of the best horror remakes ever made. The legacy of Invasion of the Body Snatchers is significant, as it is often cited as one of the finest examples of sci-fi horror. Its themes of paranoia, conformity, and the erosion of humanity have remained relevant over the decades. The film has inspired numerous discussions and analyses, particularly for its open-ended and chilling conclusion. It also influenced future adaptations of Jack Finney's story, including Body Snatchers, 1993, and The Invasion, 2007, though none matched its critical and cultural impact. The 1978 film stands as a landmark in the sci-fi and horror genres, seamlessly blending thought-provoking commentary with genuine scares. Interesting facts about Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978. 1. The night after the movie's release, someone put pods, like those in the movie, all over the streets of Los Angeles. Some people got so freaked out that they thought they were real and called the police. 2. Don Siegel, who directed Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956, plays the taxi driver. 3. During filming, only Philip Kaufman, W.D. Richter, and Donald Sutherland knew how the film would end. Veronica Cartwright was not told that Sutherland's character had been captured and became an alien. 4. The scene of naked Elizabeth in the burning pod factory was also shot with her wearing clothes for TV broadcast. 5. During the taxi ride, Donald Sutherland and Brooke Adams' nervousness is genuine. Don Siegel had lost much of his vision and was driving through the dark streets of San Francisco without his glasses.